sisters on the EN show.
Finally.
Come on, let's talk.
Pain and joy, I've had it all, had it all. My vakati paucha famba, safa white ojinoita. Shine your light and let it show, let it show. This is my story, story, story.
Ladies, welcome to the EN show. Edith and Loveness. So excited.
Hi.
Finally, right?
Finally.
This one, she was now calling me, excuse me, where are you? When am we coming onto the show? And I've been itching to talk about so many things with regards to digital. I was sitting in church the other day and a young man did a presentation and he was talking to us just about the most basic things around digital AI, like that message that comes through on your email, do you respond to it? And I said, how many other people are worried about what is it that they should do? What is it that they shouldn't do? And so when I spoke to you, Edith, we were talking also about security around kids.
Yeah.
So let's start with the young ones, right? We all have kids. If you're a grandma out there, if you are a parent, I've seen this generation of young kids being given a tablet, an iPad, a phone. Mwana achichema. And it is almost instinctive that we do that. What is it that we should be aware of from a very parental point of view? What are the things that we should be like, this is not good?
With kids, when you give something to them, they can get easily attached to it. So you've seen kids who go always having their blanket or their toy or something. So it's the same with the gadget. Once we are giving that gadget to them, they are going to become easily attached to it. And the other issue is that we are always also on our gadgets and they're seeing that and they're modeling whatever we're doing. However, the problem with that is as they grow older, they struggle with self-regulation. They will struggle with social skills. I've seen children who don't even realize that we are in a public place. There are people that have to be greeted. I've walked into rooms with children who are all on their gadgets. They will not lift their heads. They have no social or environmental awareness. And as they grow older, that affects the relationships. It affects their productivity. It even affects their self-esteem because now they don't even know how to communicate and relate to people.
So let's put that in a bit of a context, right? So we grew up, okay, maybe I grew up, I don't know about y'all, because you guys are younger, but here's the thing. I grew up in an environment where there were party lines, right? 2 short, 1 long, and we never had access to information at the snap of your fingers. Now, to your point, these kids are growing up with access. So what is it that we need to do, Loveness, from a point of saying, I need to understand what this access means as a parent, because it's become such a shortcut. You don't want your kid to throw a tantrum. So give them the gadget. So in terms of, do you think parents really understand the gravity of giving? And this thing called Coco Melon, guys, Coco Melon, you can tell us about that.
Oh my goodness. I think sometimes what we've seen in our sessions and once we're talking to parents, with the students from the top end of the social strata and everything, right to the marginalized, is that people don't really understand what is at stake. The best example I can give you is, think about it, you will lock your house, you will make sure the gate is closed, you'll make sure that it's secure, and then you give your child a device, unlimited access to the internet, no screen time or any supervision of any kind. And yet that's where the most dangerous people are.
So wait a minute. Are you equating me leaving my house unlocked?
Yes.
Yes. To me giving Mwana access to a phone?
Access to a phone with no education, with no guidance, with no even would you give your child access to a car without their license?
Wow.
That's the gravity at which we take this, because on there you have people with malicious intent.
Yes.
We've got people who are identifying as children and they're grown-ups. We've got people groomers. We've got pedophiles. We've got even people who want to do ransomware and want to get information from your child. And
what's ransomware?
So
you're using these big words.
I'd forgotten. Apologies, audience. So what sometimes happens is that if I'm an adult,
right?
Let's look at the social strata. When adults and children come together, there's usually a natural gravitation towards kids on their own, adults on their own, right? In a physical environment. It's different online. The lines are blurred. An adult can converse with a child, whether it's appropriate or inappropriate. And sometimes what happens, people with bad intentions will get in touch with your child and develop or build or nurture a relationship with that child until they trust them.
Oh my gosh.
And this person, remember, is bad. And so they can say to your child, send me pictures of you in your underwear only.
Oh my Lord.
Send me pictures of you undressed. And because that relationship is there, and the child is feeling safe,
it's security.
It's security. They will send that.
They'll feel secure enough
to do that. But as an adult, you probably will be like, nah. But they don't have those critical thinking skills. And so what then happens is they send that, and before you know it, that child is being asked, send me money, or else I'm sharing this with all your friends.
Oh my God.
Because remember, on Facebook, if I know you, I can actually go through your friends, the people you know, and I can actually befriend them myself.
Oh my Lord.
Yeah.
So I don't think we really understand how much access we give people.
Yes.
Now, so this cookie thing, Edith. Okay. We all are on the internet. We're surfing on the internet.
Yes.
And a site pops up and you're asked, cookies, do you give access to full cookies or do you decline? In Indonesian, this is BCC, I decline by rule of thumb.
Yes.
But what does that cookie mean? And so if I say yes, what am I saying yes to?
Yeah. Well, cookies are usually used to see how you're using your that platform, really.
Right.
Just to get to understand how you're interacting with it, how many times you frequent it, how long you stay on it, and so forth. But however, there's this thing that you have to do before you accept or decline, is to see what the terms and conditions are of that use.
On the back end.
Yes. It's when you go to the preferences,
right,
you need to go through that. But we don't have time for that.
Yes.
We just want to access what we want to access. And usually what we end up doing is clicking yes, accept, or even decline sometimes. But also with websites, you need to know, is this a trusted source? Is this a trusted website? Because some of the malicious actors will use those cookies to get information other than what is prescribed there. So when you're inputting your email address, they are going to maybe get access to your email account and all the information that you have there.
So just to pick up, on that conversation, we're talking to a gogo who's there. And, our older generation really don't understand what, this whole IT, this whole AI conversation is. But because everyone is on WhatsApp to a certain point, I think WhatsApp penetration is probably the highest.
It's the highest.
Right? With 99 point something.
Yeah.
People on WhatsApp or have digital access. So how are we teaching, or what can we say to someone who is of an older generation who really is about trust, because they don't know, right? They don't know any better. So they're seeing a message coming on WhatsApp and it says click onto this link. What should they do?
Do not click anything.
Simple message.
Never.
Do not click.
Do not click, because you can't verify how authentic that site is. And you know what hackers do? The greatest thing that they use is our fear of missing out. It's our wanting to see things and win things. So the human factor is the easiest thing.
So by nature, we're very curious.
Because we're curious,
Trusting as well.
And
trusting.
So they prey on your innocence, and they prey also on your kuda zvinhu,
And it's not that doing.
basically.
So Edith and Loveness, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about women in tech. I'm so excited about your work in women in tech and just what AI means and the future of AI. But we'll just take a small break. If you're watching the show, this is the EN Show. I'm with Edith and Loveness, and we are talking everything that is digital platform. Don't go away. We'll see you soon. Welcome back to the EN Show. I am with Loveness and Edith, and we are talking everything around security for our kids. So I mentioned about talking about women in tech, but before we even go to women in tech, I want us to just revisit very briefly the security issues for our kids. So how can someone solution that? Because are there apps, are there places where we can go that I can mirror and see, kuti mwanangu, this is what she's watching? Loveness, how do I manage that from a very basic point of view? I'm a mom. I want to know what they're watching.
So from a very basic point of view, when you're getting a new smartphone, it does have default settings to ask you, you can set it up as a parent. It will ask you, are you setting it up for an adult or are you setting it up for a child?
Okay.
And then you follow through. Literally, it's like a follow-through setup.
But the funny thing is that many of us don't intentionally buy a phone for our children.
Yes.
They use our phones. Our phones have the
adult settings.
The adult settings.
So when if you're not buying one,
right,
what you do is you clean yours.
Okay.
You literally clean it up and then you start the process again.
Right.
You can still get those default settings. There are applications as well. If you're on Google, there's like the family app as well. But then we've noticed one thing with Edith is that children will bypass.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, so when you talk about bypass, what are we talking about? Edith, what are we talking about
One
here?
school that we worked with,
right?
They've got their filters, they've got their security features. Grade 4 children were hacking into the system. They were able to access platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and yet the school had blocked those sites from them. So you're dealing with children whose brains are wired differently, and they're so tech savvy. They give a child who's 5 a phone, they can download things off YouTube. They can go bypass certain things. Like if you put a passcode, I've seen kids who are able to open people's phones that they don't know. People that have just met, and you see the child is already on the games.
What?
Yes.
And so,
and because of that, you need to know that just because they can operate doesn't mean they're digitally literate.
That really shakes me up because you actually assume, I think we don't understand how intelligent our kids are and how exposed they are to information.
Yes.
I mean, I need to remind myself that when I do research, it's not an encyclopedia.
Yeah.
It's Google who has become my encyclopedia. And it's ChatGPT and all of these platforms. But the fact that someone can unlock your phone and they're like 6 years old is crazy. So as parents, what do we need to do? Because I think you talked about responsibility.
Yes.
Clean your phone.
Clean your phone.
I think it's the most basic thing. We need to stop assuming that our phone, I'm the only one who has access to my phone.
True.
That's the number one step. Number 2 step is make sure that you have the settings that safeguard those things. But still, you're saying that's not proof.
It's not enough. It's not enough.
Wow.
I think the other thing that we can quickly add is your screen time.
Yeah.
Check what your child is watching and for how long. We will be unpopular for this, but even taking away the device. Having rules and regulations, no devices during supper, having a family contract. This is how we deal with devices. Giving you this phone, but these are the terms and conditions. And be comfortable, be empowered as a parent to ask for that device and see what they are doing. And also another...
Do you think parents feel guilty about that?
They do. There's a lot of pushback.
I've got a lot of guilt to say, Shamani, we are in phone
Do you know the parents have asked us, do I have the right to go through my child's phone?
Excuse me, African families.
Yes.
Right hands.
Parenting has gotten to a point where, because of children's rights and the child rights movement being so vocal and so strong, some parents feel disempowered.
Wow.
We have met them.
Yes.
Wow. Who feel that, do I have a right to look on my child's phone?
And they'll say, my child has a right to privacy. My child's, I have to ask for them. But you're the one who bought this gadget. Yeah. And one of the things that we say, even before you give the child the phone, they need to understand that this is a tool that I'm giving you, and it belongs to me. Mm-hmm. I will allow you to use it because you need it for communication, education, entertainment, but it remains my property, which you are a custodian of. And because of that kind of conversation, children will know that I can take it when I feel like. And as they grow older, then you can say, you know what, you've shown you're responsible and you're handling your device well, so you can then release as they grow older. But the problem we're seeing, grade 3 children, a grade 3 child is usually 7 years or 8 years old. They have their own device that they do whatever they feel like.
So isn't there a chemical reaction? Okay, there's dopamine. Is that the word? Dopamine.
Yes.
That's released in your body that makes you feel good when you're downloading, that makes you feel good when you have access to information, right?
Yes.
So it's almost like an addiction.
Yes.
So when you take, because I saw something on Instagram, and this child was, the parent took away the phone, and the boy literally destroyed the whole lounge.
Yes.
And I couldn't understand what was going on. So first of all, I was looking at the parent. She just kind of stood there. But
not an African mother.
No. But I think the fact that this kid was so like, you better give it back to me or else I can even kill you. So what is that chemical process that happens in kids? And I think maybe that's where we need to start off, is the dopamine.
Yes.
And it's so bad because that dopamine effect is the same, the high that a cocaine user has when they have their fix. It's the same high technology will give you.
Oh my gosh.
And some of the developers, when they're developing these applications, they actually have behavioral scientists with them. They intentionally develop habit forming or addictive applications. It's only now that IBM and Google are encouraging developers to do what you call healthy applications.
Okay.
But before we go there's one thing that we didn't mention about why a parent needs to take care and to be aware. And you are legally liable for what they do with the phone that you've given them, with the internet that you've paid for them, and all that. So that should empower parents.
Wow. So what we're going to do, Edith and Loveness, is we're going to put those links on our platforms so that people who are watching the show can click and get more information. Absolutely. But as we round up for the segment, I just want you to talk about very briefly women in tech. So I found you very passionate about women in tech.
And I still am.
And you were like, women, girls coding and all of that. Are you still very passionate about that?
Very much so.
Yeah.
In fact, we have programs that we work with young girls. We've got the Cyber Smart Girls program. We help them from the digital literacy to digital citizenship to monetization, productive use of these smartphones, and so much more. There's a lot that we're doing.
Right.
Yeah.
But you're also saying that you're looking at it holistically now.
Yeah.
So you've kind of said women in tech, yes, but you're going back to factory settings.
Absolutely. Yep. Because one of the privileges we've had is to go into schools and to talk to all children, boys and girls. And you find that while their experiences might be different when they're online, they all have challenges that they need support with. And the situation is the same way. Their educators are not quite empowered and the parents are disempowered, like we said. Yeah. So we decided that girls don't live in a vacuum. Boys also need to be capacitated. Yeah. And we want to bring everybody onto the table to assist the children at any age, from all backgrounds, whatever their digital literacy level is. And we've got this campaign that we're doing, which is called Digital Citizenship.
And we're going to get into that. I absolutely want to understand that. But knowledge is power, which is basically what we're saying.
Yes.
So we're going to take a small break and we're going to come back. We are watching the EN show. I am with Loveness and I am with Edith. And we are talking everything that will make sure that your home is safe. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the EN show. So we're going to do an experiment, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm prepared, Wusa. What am I supposed to do?
Eat it.
Okay. So, Emily,
Yes.
can you go onto your favorite app?
Yes.
Or your
My
favorite
favorite
app or social media platform, whatever it is
Right.
that you spend the most time on.
Yes.
Please open it.
Yes.
Please pass it to Loveness so she can see. How does that make you feel when she's going through your phone?
I'm like, I hope no messages come through.
So why did you give her your phone?
Well, because you asked me to.
No, but you didn't have to do it. Is that not where your private information is?
My whole life is on this thing.
Okay. And yet you just gave it to Loveness.
Yes.
Why?
I don't know why.
All right.
And I suppose that's the point.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's what
right?
we want to demonstrate.
Okay.
That first of all, when you go online and you just give information, because someone said, type in your email address, type in your phone number, type in your name, whatever it is they're asking for. It's the same thing. You didn't have to.
Yeah.
You could have just said no. But most times this is what we do. We just hand over our private information.
I want to reflect on how I felt
Yes.
right now. Deep down, I knew I shouldn't have done it.
Yeah.
But I still went in and did it,
Yes.
right? There was something that was like, oh my God, why are you doing this? You know not to do this.
Yeah.
And I think it's even worse with the older generation.
Yes.
Our younger people always say, you know what, I'm going to show you a picture. Don't scroll.
Yes.
I used to be so offended. Like, what do you mean don't scroll?
Yeah.
I'm going to scroll.
Yeah.
Then I was like, no, I'm not going to scroll because I don't know what I'm going to see. And to safeguard even myself, I don't. So sometimes being nosy as well as a parent is important because that thing that tells you not to do it is the thing that you need to safeguard your kids from.
Exactly. And what we actually say to parents, parenting will always remain parenting, whether you're a digital parent or a traditional one. And you need to trust your instinct, trust your intuition. When it tells you that something is not right, trust that for your own security and that of your child.
It's just, it amazes me that parents sometimes have a hard time talking to kids and making them accountable, which I think is definitely a new generation of parenting. And, you know, I don't think it's to point a finger. I think it's just also them battling with the knowledge and having to say, what is it that I should do? But we were talking about your new program. Tell me about that. What is it? The name of it?
The Digital Citizenship Campaign.
Yes.
And we're saying digital citizenship is everyone's business.
Yes.
We, like I said before, children don't live in a vacuum. Girls don't live in a vacuum.
Yes.
And when you look at some of the issues, they are being cyberbullied, there's cyber stalking, there's child sexual abuse online. And this is not happening girl to girl. It can be boy to girl, it can be an adult man to a child.
Yes.
But the same thing is happening to boys. And cyberbullying is also happening to adults.
Wow.
Cyberbullying does not discriminate. It doesn't care whether you're a politician or a school teacher, whether you're a father or a mother, a boy or a girl. Anyone can be cyberbullied. So this is why we're saying, let's all come together. Let's all work together, from the policy makers to the law enforcers, the legal people who craft the legislation, the teachers who are educating our children, even the technology companies. You know, one thing that makes us sad is that our laws, when I was in the broadcasting sector, our laws had very territorial protections.
Yes.
So you can't just broadcast anything from anywhere into Zimbabwe. And yet we're allowing all sorts of things to come through social media and through the digital space.
Yeah.
And there's
with hardly any filter.
Yes, and she mentioned the laws that protect us and the laws that we are responsible for in here. But which laws are protecting us, the citizens, from what happens outside?
Yeah, that's
so
very important.
Because of those gaps, we want to bring everyone to the table and have these conversations based on what we have seen over the 10 years that we have been working with children.
So I see a lot of programming, and maybe this is not an accurate enough comment, but I think we probably don't do enough in disadvantaged communities.
Yes.
Because it's easier to have the conversations with kids who have access. Yes. Is your programming reaching even those within the disadvantaged communities? And are you who are you partnering to get this done? Yeah.
Wow, love the question. I think, first of all, the first thing we need to do is to collaborate, everybody putting in an effort and breaking the silos. For an example, if someone wants to go out there and create a computer lab, let's get everybody involved so that computer lab is not then abused for something else. Let it be productive to the community that it's in. So we do have partners, the main partner being Telco, Broadband and Beyond, where they've partnered with us to go and help or to work with a community in Mbare under I Am Mbare Trust, where we go there and we do literacy there. It's been really, really one of our most fulfilling projects. Seeing those children turn into content creators.
Wow.
Instead of being content consumers, them dreaming again, which university do you want to go to? Wow. Let's do vision boards. And, so we have interesting conversations with them. And from a place of clinical, professional, first days awkwardness to auntie hugs, we'll see you later, do not happen to me, that type of thing. It's been really fulfilling. Wow. And then we also have another project that we partner with them called Texpo, where there's a hackathon as one of the programs. But then we also get to interact with schools, with parents, with educators, and anybody who attends that place to teach them about digital wellness, how you interact with technology. Are you addicted? Are you stuck scrolling? How once you start, sometimes we call it doom scrolling, when you can't stop, when you tell yourself, I'm going to be done in 30 minutes.
It's like a soothing feeling because
addictive.
It's actually it's terrible because I'm going to share with you something. I have had, and I don't even know if I should share this, but
Please.
but I've realized it's a safe space with millions of people who are watching the show, right? But I have found myself falling asleep.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I hear kadonk.
Yeah.
And my phone has fallen on the floor.
Yeah.
And my instinct is to pick up the phone. And then instead of me putting it on the charger, I'm like, no, I'm just gonna go. I'm just gonna check my messages on one thing. Next minute, kadonk, it's fallen again on the floor. And I feel like that is a sign of addiction because I need to be able to just say, I need to get off my internet. I need to get off my email, Yekbasa, whatever it is, because it doesn't matter what it is you're on. You are still seeking it on your phone. And it's stopping conversations, the richness of conversations and everything from happening. But before we move forward, I want to plug Telco. Okay, so Telco, I see the vision and it is so important for us to be activating in disadvantaged communities.
Absolutely.
Because the conversations need to reach everywhere. And Dumin Kala, who is the CEO for Telco, if it wasn't for her, the Ian Show would not be here.
Wow.
And this is my moment to plug her and honor her for that. So she's such a visionary.
She deserves that honor.
She deserves that honor.
So I know that as we wrap up the show, what is the future? So Loveness, what is the future for you? You're a marketer. You have a marketing background. In 1 minute, tell us what is the next 5 years looking like for you?
In the next 5 years, I think it's taking bold moves, because we are really passionate about digital wellness, online safety, and the way the world is going. Because first of all, I'm a mom. I'm a mother of two. And being online and seeing what's happening with children really breaks our hearts. So this synergy is really, we want to go all out, have policies, have regulation, have parents that know this is what I can do, have empowered parents, and to protect our children, because digital is here to stay. It's not going anywhere.
It's not going anywhere.
We just want them to flourish and thrive so that they can grow up and, be the people that they want to
and
be.
reach their full potential in a safe environment.
Absolutely.
Edith, you're a lawyer by profession. I saw you when you were doing law. And then you said to me, you walked into my office and you're like, Emily, I've left my job and I'm now going into this digital space.
Yeah.
What has been the journey and what is your future looking like?
The journey has been, honestly, there have been ups and downs. Starting off, there was no acceptance of what we're doing, understanding and appreciation. But over time, and thank God for COVID, actually.
Thank God for COVID.
Yeah, because when COVID came, that's when people's eyes were opened to what we had been talking about.
Yeah.
And what that has done for us is to stoke the fire even more, because when you're working with people who get it, it gives you that inspiration and encouragement. So going forward, using my skills as a lawyer, I've worked in broadcasting and telecoms regulation. Using that background, I've worked in government at policy level. I've worked as a labor lawyer, a family lawyer, a corporate lawyer, and I'm just bringing everything to the table. And above all, like Loveness said, being a mother, I want my children to live in a world where they thrive when they're online. We've got the metaverse that's coming up. We've got other emerging technologies. And the things we talked about today, this is child's play.
Yeah.
There's a lot more that is happening.
Yeah.
And our children are already exposed to it. And because of that, I am a mother. The children that I have adopted every time we go out there, as well as my own children.
They become our children.
That's where our heart is.
And so, ladies, it's been such a pleasure to have you on the EN show.
Thank you.
I know that we're going to jump onto EN Extra, only found on YouTube just now. And we're going to talk everything AI because I don't know ChatGPT. Y'all need to teach me that one. But thank you so much for coming on to the show. It has been overdue. And I'm happy for you to be a part of season 4.
Thank you.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Emily.
you, ladies. Everyone, this is the EN Show season 4, and I'm excited to have had Loveness and Edith talking everything about making us safe in a digital environment. So if you want to hear more about this, jump onto our YouTube platform, and everything on EN Extra will follow through. And from us here at the EN Show, we are sending love and light your way. Welcome to EN Extra, only available on YouTube. So Edith and Loveness, we were talking. So I am scared of ChatGPT, okay? As a writer, I shared this on LinkedIn.
Yes, I remember. I read
As
that
a
article.
writer,
Yes.
I cannot conceptualize an AI gadget that can write for me. And as a writer, I grudgingly admit that right? But there is a coldness that's there.
Yes.
But how do we balance ChatGPT, the content that we get? Because even you'll find that there's going to be a significant shift of the quality of writing.
Yes.
How can we balance the two? I don't know, Loveness, maybe let's start with you.
And I think with AI, one thing that we need to understand is that it is inhuman. It has no feelings. It doesn't bring in authenticity. So some of the questions that you ask it to do because of the way it functions, should I explain? Like what happens with it is it's a machine that has access to a lot of data that it has been fed. And so what it does is when you ask it a question, it's going to quickly look at high speeds, quickly look for the answer and give you that answer. So we're using the same data sets that ChatGPT has. And ChatGPT is actually historic because it has a cutoff date.
Yeah.
It's not current. So because of that, then you'll see that once you started using AI, you are able to see that this person used AI in their writing.
Right.
They used AI in their content. It doesn't have feelings. It doesn't have that warmth in it. And so people are saying very fast creativity and authenticity are going to be soft skills that are sought after.
Oh,
Yes.
Okay, so the opposite is going to happen.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So do you think that it's only within this generation that can actually appreciate
Yes.
the emotion?
Yes.
Because don't you think there's going to be a generation that will just be like, tijizi. Saka, we're not losing out on anything? Like I grew up, I remember the first guy who Akakanda Shoko Pentis. He took Lionel Richie's song and he said, Penny Lover, and that was how he asked me out. And it was and angaine writing askana shem. Angaine writing yake yakanaka but achipena kuti Penny Lover, and he was using the lyrics. So maybe that's the same kind of thing, but maybe at a more advanced stage.
Yes.
So how do you get to a point where that becomes the norm? Will that not be the norm? I'm scared that it will be acceptable for that to happen.
It's possible if we don't do anything about it.
Right.
That is why we have a responsibility, this generation, for the sake of future generations, that we maintain the humanity in whatever is happening. And as much as we love the technology and the convenience and everything else that it brings, we need to remain guarded about those other issues, where you've got someone who can't even think for themselves.
Yeah.
Now, every time they want to say something or do something, they're typing questions for someone else to answer. And this is why we are saying parents need to also be really engaged in how their children are using the AI, in as much as it is helpful for them in some ways. You need to make sure that they have some background knowledge of whatever they're searching for. If it's something heartfelt, from birthday messages to school, to
reports,
homework, everything is.
Because you know why? Even reports at work are becoming so AI driven. So, like I said, I fall back on the fact that I'm a writer. I've got so much pride that I can write.
Yes.
But I'm just like, oh my goodness, this thing is coming online and it can spit out rhymes and all of that stuff.
All
for
that
me,
stuff.
You
But
know?
you know what, I think the most important thing, I use AI a lot in my work.
Right.
And like I said before, I don't know, we're talking before the segment, that I'm self-taught in digital marketing.
Yes.
As an example. So when I'm speaking to my AI assistant, I don't just copy and paste. I need to engage my critical thinking skills. I need to tap into the expertise that I know. Why? Because AI comes with misinformation, disinformation. It comes with hallucinations. What I mean is, if you ask it, please give me the recipe for chocolate salsa, it will come up with the recipe for chocolate salsa. But does it exist? It doesn't.
Wow.
It's got bias. It has all these other risks that are involved. But because I've mastered my skill, if it gives me an answer that's related to digital marketing, I can query it until I get the quality that I'm looking for.
Yeah.
So that's where we say the learners, if we're talking about AI and education, still need to master their subject areas, because you cannot take AI for everything that it gives you.
Yeah.
You still need to interrogate it. When we're doing report writing, what about confidentiality issues? Because it learns from what we give it. So there are so many issues around there.
Yeah, and it's so true. And I'm just thinking, Kuti, what at the end of the day, what kind of a society do we have with social norms not being taught on AI?
Yeah.
And my understanding is that AI evolves.
Yes.
So it learns you,
Yes.
the user.
So
it
if
learns
you're
patterns.
yeah.
It
Yes.
learns, lingo.
Yes.
And then it starts curating specifically for you.
Yes.
But Edith, I saw robots. Hello? So I was watching TV and I was watching these robots, and then I was like, okay, so wait a minute. Is this iRobot coming in? And the reporters were actually having conversations with these robots.
Yes.
Are we living what Hollywood has been showing us all along? In that is the way we are moving towards now.
Possibly. I attended an AI for Good conference.
Yeah.
And what you're talking about was one of the exhibitions that were there. And one thing that stood out for me was that they were talking about AI for good, which means there can be AI for bad.
For bad.
Yes.
And which means if somebody watched Terminator or whatever sci-fi, they can want to reproduce and recreate that. And it's coming easier and easier to do it.
Yeah.
So it's scary terrain, because as much as we've got these things that we want to do for good, like in the medical field, they want to use those robots for different type of operations that are complex for the human beings, or for disaster recovery, that sort of thing. There are also people who will be wanting to use it for other things. There's a case in point of a young boy who was engaging with what is that called?
It's called character AI.
Character AI.
It's an
Yes, and it's almost humane when you're interacting with it.
Right.
You're talking to it, you're sharing your passions and how your day was and all that.
It becomes your friend.
It becomes your friend.
Yeah.
It was designed
It was designed to help people who are lonely or who can't make friends easily. But recently, this young boy lost his life by death by suicide.
Yeah. That's terrible.
And the mother is suing that company. But the company now is also saying, it's not our fault.
Yeah.
We didn't design this. Your child might have had underlying issues. And the societal aspect that you're talking about, when that detachment happens between parent and child, and then between child and reality, we need to really introspect how, and it starts with these devices, the phones.
Okay, so I don't think we have enough time, but I think as we wrap up, I automatically think of, what are those, like your goggles, the VR goggles.
Yeah.
I went and I did one, and I was like, this is not real. I was like punching people and stuff like that.
Didn't you get a high though?
So my kids,
my
kids actually took a video of me doing that, and I watched it, and I was so shocked by how consumed I was with this cyber environment that took over my senses, and I had no idea where I was. And it's that disconnecting that sometimes becomes a relief for people who are running away from reality, but it also becomes a scary thing for those who are control freaks like me. I need to understand what's around me. But ladies, we've come to the end of EN Extra, and it has been such a pleasure to have you guys. And thank you so much. And please do keep doing the work that you guys are doing.
Thank you.
It is so important for us to share the word and for us to change lives, which is what you guys are doing. And so proud.
Thank
So
you.
proud.
We love
Thank you guys
too.
for watching EN Extra, and we hope that you subscribe, like, and share. We'll see you soon. Sending love and light your way.